In the quiet countryside, horse-drawn buggies travel slowly down winding dirt roads. Fields stretch wide, as far as the eye can see. Amish families live here, far from the rush of modern life. Everything feels peaceful, calm, untouched by time. For the Amish, life is simple, but deeply connected to nature. They grow their own food, care for their animals, and preserve what they harvest. But when the rains come, it's not always easy. Without electricity, drawing food during rainy season becomes a challenge. Still, they have their ways rooted in tradition, passed down from one generation to the next. Today, we'll explore how Amish families overcome this challenge, how they preserve food, even when the skies stay gray and the air stays damp. In Amish communities, every part of life revolves around tradition, whether it's how they farm the land, build their homes, or even how they prepare their meals. But one of their most fascinating practices is how they preserve food, especially during the rainy season. For the Amish, preserving food is more than just a task. It's a way of ensuring that their families and their communities are well fed during harsh winters. Drying food without electricity may seem difficult, but for the Amish, it's a tradition rooted in resourcefulness. They rely on natural elements like the sun, the wind, and carefully built drying spaces to keep their food fresh for months. When the weather turns rainy, they adapt. Families come together, sharing techniques and spaces to make sure nothing goes to waste. It's not just about survival. It's about preserving a way of life, a life where hard work, patience, and the wisdom of past generations shape everything they do. When it comes to preserving food without electricity, the Amish have mastered the art of working with nature. Drying food is one of their key methods, but it's not as simple as laying fruits and vegetables out in the sun. It's a process, one that involves the whole family. On dry, sunny days, it begins early in the morning. Mothers and daughters gather in the kitchen, sorting freshly harvested fruits and vegetables. Apples, peaches, and even herbs like mint and basil are carefully sliced into thin pieces. This helps them dry faster. The air is filled with the sweet scent of fresh produce and the quiet chatter of family members working together. Once the food is ready, it's placed on large wooden racks or spread out on clean cloths. These drying racks are set outside in open fields or near the barn, where they can catch the warm sun and the soft breeze. The younger children help carry the trays, while older siblings and parents ensure they're placed properly. But what happens when the skies turn gray and the rain begins to fall? That's when the real ingenuity comes in. During rainy seasons, ABS Amish families turn to their barns, attics, and even covered porches. The drying racks are moved indoors, where they're placed near windows or under ventilation spaces, allowing air to circulate. Without electricity, they depend entirely on natural airflow to dry their food. Fathers and older sons often build special wooden frames, designed to hold multiple drying racks at once. These frames can be stacked high, saving space and ensuring that large quantities of food can be dried even when the weather is less than ideal. It's a family effort. Everyone has a role to play. On especially damp days, they might even light a small fire in the corner of the barn. The gentle warmth from the fire helps to reduce moisture in the air, speeding up the drying process. But it's always done carefully. Safety is a priority. Throughout the process, there's a sense of togetherness. Younger children watch and learn, while the older generation shares stories of how things were done in the past. It's more than just drying food. It's a moment where traditions are passed down and where families bond over shared work. Even when the task is done, the sense of accomplishment is shared by all. Dried apples, herbs, and vegetables are carefully stored in glass jars or cloth bags, ready to be used in the colder months ahead. And so a simple task becomes something much greater, a reminder of the Amish way of life, where patience, hard work, and community are at the heart of everything they do. What makes the Amish way of drying food so unique is not just the absence of modern technology, but the careful attention to detail and the resourcefulness that each family brings to the process. Unlike most people who depend on electric dehydrators, the Amish rely entirely on simple tools and the forces of nature. For slicing fruits and vegetables, they use hand-cranked slicers and sharp knives passed down through generations. These tools, though basic, are crafted with precision, ensuring that each slice is thin and even, perfect for drying. The sound of the hand-cranked slicer turning and the rhythmic chopping of knives fills the room as the work begins. Once the produce is prepared, it's placed on drying racks made from wooden frames and fine mesh or cloth. These racks are handmade by the men in the family, often built during the winter months when there's less outdoor work. Each rack is sturdy, designed to allow maximum airflow, ensuring that the food dries evenly. Everyone in the family has a role to play. The younger children help wash the fruits and vegetables, while older children assist with slicing and arranging the produce on racks. Mothers oversee the entire process, making sure everything is done properly. Fathers and older sons handle the heavier tasks like moving the racks in and out of storage or adjusting the drying spaces based on weather conditions. During rainy seasons, special actions are taken to ensure success. Amish families use their knowledge of wind direction and barn ventilation to position the drying racks where air circulation is best. If the rain lasts for several days, they might use a slow-burning wood stove to create a warm, dry atmosphere inside the barn. The stove is kept at a low heat, just enough to dry the air without cooking the food. This entire process isn't just about food, it's about community. Often, neighboring families will come together to share drying spaces and exchange ideas about the best techniques. It's a tradition that strengthens bonds, where knowledge is passed from one household to another. At the end of the season, when the jars and bags are full of dried produce, there's a shared sense of pride. Not only have they preserved food for the months ahead, but they've also upheld a practice that connects them to their ancestors and to each other. In Amish households, every family member has a specific role when it comes to drying food. The process begins with the mother, who oversees everything from selecting the ripest fruits and vegetables to ensuring that each piece is sliced just right. She works alongside her daughters, teaching them the importance of careful preparation and patience, skills they will pass down to their own families one day. Meanwhile, fathers and older sons focus on the manual labor, building and maintaining drying racks, moving them in and out of the barn, and keeping an eye on the weather. Their role is critical, especially during rainy seasons, when quick decisions about where to place the racks can mean the difference between preserving the harvest or losing it to spoilage. Even younger children play a part, washing produce, carrying trays, or simply observing and learning. This shared effort strengthens the bond between family members, turning what could be seen as a chore into an opportunity for connection and learning. Beyond the immediate family, extended family members and even neighbors often pitch in during food drying seasons. For example, if one family's barn becomes too crowded with drying racks during extended rainy periods, another family might offer space in their own barn. This practice not only ensures that no food goes to waste, but also reinforces the strong sense of community that defines Amish life. It's not uncommon to see several families working side by side, exchanging stories, offering advice, and lending a hand wherever needed. Grandparents, too, play an important role. They share wisdom about the best drying techniques or which fruits to preserve for winter. Their experience ensures that traditions are respected, while also adapting to changing circumstances, like unpredictable weather. Such communal efforts turn the task of food preservation into a shared ritual, one where hard work is lightened by laughter and generations work together toward a common goal. These well-defined roles create an experience that's more than just practical. It's deeply emotional. Each family member feels a sense of purpose and pride, knowing that their contributions are essential to the family's well-being. Parents pass down not only skills, but also values of hard work, cooperation, and respect for tradition. This process also strengthens the fabric of the community, where everyone supports one another in times of need. Whether it's offering extra drying space or sharing knowledge from past experiences, the act of working together leaves a lasting impact. And as the jars and bags of dried food are stored away, there's a shared satisfaction in knowing that through unity and perseverance, they've prepared well for the seasons ahead. They've been trained to take care of themselves, separating themselves from the outside world and managing it. While Amish communities are deeply committed to preserving their traditions, they also recognize the need for certain modern adaptations to ensure the success of their practices. The drying of food without electricity is a tradition that's been passed down for generations, yet some families have begun using small, solar-powered fans or wind-powered devices to aid in the drying process. These minimal tools still respect the principle of using natural resources, but they help improve efficiency during long stretches of rainy weather. Similarly, many Amish families have embraced the use of modern containers for storing dried goods, opting for durable, airtight jars or bags instead of traditional wooden bins. This shift helps ensure the preservation of food for longer periods and offers better protection against pests. In this way, while technology is used sparingly, the Amish adapt where it makes sense, all while maintaining the integrity of their methods. When it comes to balancing tradition with the need for safety, the Amish community makes thoughtful decisions. During times of heavy rain or damp conditions, some Amish families now use small, propane-powered generators to help maintain ventilation in their drying barns. While this might seem like a departure from their traditional ways, it's done with careful consideration of the environment. The use of a generator ensures that the food doesn't spoil due to inadequate airflow, but the Amish continue to avoid electricity in the home or on a large scale. Similarly, when it comes to food preservation, there's an increasing use of modern sealing techniques to prevent spoilage. Vacuum-sealed bags and airtight jars may be used to store dried food, methods that prevent pests and humidity from compromising the harvest. Yet the Amish community ensures that these adaptations don't overpower the traditional values they hold dear. They're just tools that allow them to protect what they've worked so hard to preserve. These adaptations matter because they allow the Amish to continue preserving their way of life in a changing world. By carefully selecting which modern tools to integrate, they maintain a respectful balance between tradition and progress. The core of their values, community, simplicity, and self-sufficiency, remains intact even as they adapt to new challenges. The real significance of these changes is not in rejecting innovation, but in making informed choices that enhance their lifestyle without compromising their beliefs. This careful balance ensures that the Amish can continue thriving while staying true to the peaceful, simple existence they cherish. The Amish tradition of drying food without electricity, especially during the rainy season, is much more than a practical necessity. It's a way of life that connects them to the land and to each other. It's a ritual that emphasizes patience, foresight, and a deep respect for nature's rhythms. The practice teaches the value of community, where each family member, young and old, plays a role in the preservation of food and with it, the preservation of tradition. It's a reminder that simplicity doesn't mean sacrificing quality and that taking the time to care for what you have is just as important as the end result. In today's fast-pacing world where technology often demands our constant attention, the Amish provide a quiet yet powerful reminder. They show us that by slowing down and returning to simpler methods, we can create a life that feels more connected, purposeful, and rooted in tradition. Whether it's drying food without electricity or nurturing a family, the Amish demonstrate that true fulfillment lies not in speed or convenience, but in mindful actions and community bonds. Their way teaches us to embrace what's essential and to focus on what truly matters, preserving not just food, but relationships and heritage. End quote. As we reflect on the Amish practice of drawing food without electricity, perhaps we can ask ourselves, how can we incorporate elements of this slower, more intentional way of living into our own busy lives? In a world full of distractions, what might we gain by embracing patience, family, and tradition? The lesson is clear. Slowing down can be just as valuable as speeding up. So, what small changes can you make to reconnect with what truly nourishes you?